Hi there, Summoners, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. And tonight we are getting the reveal of the next set of new heroes to drop into the game in just a couple of days. So, of course, we've got the trailer pulled up here. Let's watch the reveals together and also take a closer look at the characters that are revealed one at a time. So let's get into it. See who they got in store for us today. Alright. Oh, Ascended Hero. We are getting it. It's been a hot minute since we got an Ascended Hero, isn't it? I think so. Oh, wow. Blossoming Talent.
This armor still so heavy after all this.
Ascended Amelia. Huh. I would never have guessed that. I don't think I would have ever guessed that as the reveal. All right, cool. Lands of Grotto, Armored Beacon, Obsidian Tactics for the A slot. Clever Fighter. Attack speed's Far Save 3 as well. Devoted training pays off as she elevates allies. Takes ranged attacks for them, then counterattacks. As a good armor unit does. Okay. All she's got. Armor design's cool. Like the little feather. Alright. Tanking. And the retaliation. Okay, alright. Definitely, again, definitely a little out of left field. I would say new heroes join the battle. Who is she going to be joined by? By the Unfettered Knight. This is going to be Forde. Alright. Getting some Sacred Stones as a whole. Alright. So he does have his own unique weapon, Wild Wind Sword, Luna, Speed Defense Unity, near Trace. Okay, Free-Spirited Knight who takes on penalties at the start, but turns them into stat bonuses during combat. Alright, little penalty reversal. Alright. He's got a Kanto as well. Alright. Oh! What? Wait, what? Really? Founding King Nidavellir is going to be on this banner? Wait, really? Hold on. Is he... That's weird. Okay, alright, Nidavellir Ballista. So I know he's in the new... He's in the game right now. Blazing Thunder, Verge of Death, and Seal Defense Res 3. I wasn't expecting him to show up on this banner, though. Turns 1 through 4, he can grant himself Kanto 4, has powerful AoE specials, also grants Hexblade to allies. Okay. Alright. And then, we are getting an Attuned Hero. Okay. Joins the bat. So they're like really doubling up on these new hero banners. Like, oh, it's EIRIKA. Oh, okay, Resolute Princess. Interesting. Ah. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see the influence in her art from her brother. So she is going to be an infantry axe unit. Sisterly Axe, Gust. As a special, D bonus doubler, Moonlit Bangle Q. Nullsea Disrupt E for the Attuned slot. Attuned Hero skill ensures her counterattacks. And is that a Vantage effect as well? Oh man. Alright. It's quite beastly. Yeah, no, she's got Vantage. I mean, I wonder what the with Ephraim's Might, I wonder what the condition for the Vantage is going to be. Oh! It's Haithrun. Nice. Okay, Healing Nectar, the new story chapter. Alright, things are starting to get a little spicy here, and we do have the, so starting on the 16th of July, and probably going for the entire month, Kyle, Zealous Knight, also appears as a non-focus, 3-star, and then, we do have the, of course, the Spark. The Spark for at the 40th pull, you do get to choose one of these heroes. Alright, so Attuned EIRIKA and Ascended Amelia. Amelia, I probably would have never guessed. EIRIKA, I feel like is basically a matter of time. She was probably going to get an Attuned Hero or a Rearmed Hero at some point. It was just a matter of which one and when, right? And I like EIRIKA, so it's great to see her here. Nidavellir, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I guess I shouldn't be surprised to see Nidavellir here, given how they've revealed Niffle and Muspel in the past. I guess what sort of surprises me is because now that we have all these new types of characters in the game, like Ascended Heroes, like Attuned Heroes, like Rearmed Heroes, to have these incarnations of the gods of these worlds just kind of be regular heroes is a little bit weird, but I guess that is consistent with how they've done it in the past. So that does make sense. But yeah, even color distribution across the banner. Let's start breaking them down. We can start, of course, with the new Amelia. New Ascended Amelia. Now, of course, remember that Amelia is not going to be limited in any capacity. She's an Ascended hero, which does mean that she does have she gives you the Ascended Floret, but that does not necessarily mean that she is limited in any way. So she is going to be in the regular pool. She is going to come with Lance of Grotto, 16 might, killer slaying effect. And start of turn, if unit is within 2 space of an ally, grants attack defense res +6. A special cooldown charge +1 per attack during combat, and neutralizes foes' bonuses during combat to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. That's a nice little set of activated buffs at the start of a turn for her and her allies, not really having any condition except for being within range of her allies, so that's quite nice. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants bonus to units stats equal to 5 plus number of allies within 3 spaces of unit times 3 max 14. So it's kind of like a form skill, like a form all skill. Neutralizes units' penalties and reduces damage from foes' first attack by 40% during combat, including brave effects, and restores 7 HP to unit after combat as well. Okay, health restoration in there, some damage reduction baked into it, some stat boosts, some significant stat boosts, based around her being surrounded by her allies, and within 3 spaces is pretty significant. Again, up to a total of +14 to all stats, and at least 5. So all in all, got some good stuff baked in there, a nice medley of different activated and in-combat buffs, killer slaying effect, and of course that's going to help with the Armored Beacon, her special at a 3-turn cooldown, boosts special damage by 40% of unit's defense, and if foe's range is equal to 2, and unit or foe special is ready and triggered before or during this combat, reduces damage from foe's next attack by 40%, once per combat, excluding AoE special. So that's going to synergize with the damage reduction of Lance of Grotto, which is nice, giving her a nice even-keeled, rounded amount of damage reduction throughout. Obsidian Tactic, so she's going to have her own unique A-slot skill. Amelia, her own unique A-slot skill. If foe initiates combat, or foe's HP is at least 75% HP at the start of combat, grants +9 to all stats to unit during combat. And the following effects occur during combat based on the value of X, and X is the total number of bonus effects active on unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit, excluding stat bonuses. So if it's at least 1, it inflicts attack defense -X times 2 on foe, max 12. So an in-combat debuff to the enemy's attacking and defensive stats. If at least 3, unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range. If at least 5, reduces the percentage of foe's non-special, so she gets damage piercing. Damage reduction piercing in there as well. Alright, that's pretty good. That is pretty darn good. She not only gets a pretty ginormous stat boost, but in addition to that, she's also going to get a debuff on the enemy, in combat debuff, pretty significant one, as well as distant counter built in, and then also damage reduction piercing, all in there based around the number of buffs, or bonuses, I should say, that she has activated on herself at a given time. So that archetype is easier and easier these days to satisfy those requirements with the amount of just bonuses that exist out there. And so she's going to take full advantage of that as well. Clever Fighter for the B slot. Inflicts attack speed -4 on foe. Neutralizes effects that guarantee foes' follow-up attacks and effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks. And increases the speed difference necessary for foe to make a follow-up attack by 10 during combat. For example, if speed difference necessary increases by 10, speed must be greater than or equal to 15 more than foe's speed to make a follow-up attack. Stacks with similar skills. And also, if unit speed is greater than or equal to foe's speed -10, reduces damage from foe's first attack by 10 during combat, which would include brave attacks. Alright, so an in-combat debuff to an enemy's attack and speed, then you got the neutralization of the follow-up, no follow-up effects, basically, and then it has this whole, like, increasing the speed requirement to double effect, which I don't know if I really love it, to be perfectly honest. It's not the first time we've seen it, of course. It's in the game. It's been in the game for a while. It feels a little ham-fisted. I don't really love it, but effectively what it means is that you need 15 speed, or her opponent needs 15 speed above her in order to double attack her, is the long and short of it. It feels a little hokey. I don't know. I don't love that requirement, but that is going to help her, of course, prevent doubles on her. I mean, it's kind of a way for them to make follow-up attacks harder naturally, even outside of the neutralization of guaranteed follow-up. So, outside of guaranteed follow-up attacks, with the neutralization with the null follow-up, this is another layer of making it more difficult to do a follow-up attack effectively on her, which is, again, it's okay, I suppose. And then attack speed far save 3 for the C slot. So yeah, I mean, she seems decent. She's got some great stuff. It's cohesive of a kit. I got damage reduction built in, some damage reduction piercing, and her A slot's pretty decent with, again, her archetype is effectively going to be a speedy armor unit, high defensive capabilities, lots of stat boosts and buffs. She's going to be able to assist her allies and provide them with additional activated buffs at the start of the turn. And then, furthermore, she is going to enjoy or take advantage of a number of stacked bonuses on herself to really bring out the full force of Obsidian Tactics. So that's really the long and short of her kit as a whole. And that does make her pretty tanky and again, versatile and useful and having some, I think, value, I guess, as both a support character and as just an armored save unit, effectively. So Forde, as a sword cavalry unit, has his own unique weapon, Wild Wind Sword, 16 might, has a killer slaying effect. At start of player phase or enemy phase, inflicts speed defense -7 on unit through unit's next action. Alright, so self-inflicted debuff right there. At start of combat, if unit has at least 25% HP, grants +5 to all stats, and bonus to all stats during combat equal to current penalty of each of those stats times 2. Unit deals damage equal to total penalties on unit times 1.5, excluding AoE specials. Really? So he gets a true damage that scales off of the number of penalties. So wait, it's not the number of penalties, it's the total penalties. So out of the gate, since he gives himself -7 on speed and defense, that's going to be 14 true damage, right? In addition to whatever other debuffs and penalties that he might have inflicted upon him. Neutralizes effects that guarantee foes' follow-up attacks and effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks, and reduces damage from foes' first attack by 40% during combat, including Brave effects, of course, and restores 7 HP to unit after combat. So you do see a little bit of similarity with Amelia. There is some carryover with the health restoration and the damage reduction off of the first attack. But of course, as the little flavor explanation during the trailer mentioned, he really is looking to capitalize on stat penalties. That's kind of what the weapon is centered around. So that's interesting. It's an interesting archetype, and again, he inflicts penalties upon himself to get that party started, right? Luna for the special speed defense unity. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants speed defense +5 and bonus to speed and defense during combat equal to the current penalty on each of those stats times 2. Okay, so I'm thinking that stacks with the unity effect in Wild Wind Sword, right? So if they, I mean, it doesn't say that they don't stack. So if that's the case, then that does mean that. So if we just take a look at one of the stats, so like speed, Wild Wind Sword gives -7 to speed. If it takes both unity effects into play, then wouldn't that effectively give plus 14 times 2? So that'd be plus 28. So it'd be 28 minus 7, which is the original penalty, which would be a net of 21. 21, then plus, the +5 for both of the unity skills, so that'd be 31. I don't know, something like that, right? So I think the unity effect stack, which is kind of ridiculous actually, if that's the case in terms of just multiplying the stat boosts based around obviating the penalty. It kind of goes ham there. Okay, and then speed defense near trace 4, so he has a trace 4 skill for the B slot. Quite nice, enables Kanto remainder +1 min 2, inflicts speed defense -4 on foe during combat, and deals +7 damage, including when dealing damage with a special trigger before combat. So, all in all, again, an interesting archetype, especially with the, I think, the double down on the whole penalty effect and taking advantage of penalties like that. Not only does he really turn it around with doubling, tripling, or maybe quadrupling the amount that he gets off of penalties, but you also get true damage baked in there too, which is really nice as well. Alright, and we've got Nidavellir, so he is going to be a colorless bow cavalry unit with his unique weapon, Nidavellir Ballista, 14 might, has a killer slaying effect effective against flying foes, enables Kanto distance +1 max 4 during turns 1 through 4. Okay, we've seen that. It makes a lot of sense. Same thing with like Reagan and her entire kind of line of different, her family line effectively of different units where they have a specific Kanto enabled during the beginning turns of battle. At start of turns 1 through 4, grant special cooldown count -3 to unit, grant special cooldown count -1 to allies within 2 spaces of unit, excluding unit, and grants Hexblade to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit. Wow, okay. So turns 1 through 4 gets a host of different advantages in addition to CD reduction on himself. Does grant that to his allies as well as Hexblade. At start of combat, if unit has at least 25% HP, grants +6 to attack and speed, grants bonus to unit's attack and speed equal to 20% of unit speed at the start of combat. Unit deals damage equal to 20% of unit speed, so some true damage as well, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30% during combat. So we can take a sneak peek here at the special, because that does go in line with what Nidavellir Ballista does. Blazing Thunder at a 4 cooldown special, but of course, with the killer slaying effect, it's going to be 3 cooldown. Foes in an area near target take damage equal to 1.5 times. So, an AoE special at the start, going to be insta-charged throughout turns 1 through 4 at the start of combat. Not only that, during 1 through 4, you're going to have Kanto distance +1 max 4 as well. So that's going to be quite significant. He's also going to be able to provide his allies that additional cooldown to their specials, Hexblade as well. You've got damage reduction built in. And then just a set of very good offensive buffs centered around and scaling off of his speed stat. So he's going to have at least 25% HP, which is pretty darn easy to meet, but then he's going to have a bonus to those attack and speed stats scaling off of his speed stat to begin with, as well as true damage based off of his speed stat. So lots of decent stuff tacked in there, as well as a support role too. Kind of interesting. Again, not too dissimilar, I guess, from what Amelia does as well. Again, having that offensive capability, except he's obviously offensively oriented, but also has a support role that he does at the start of combat too. Blazing Thunder, Verge of Death for the A slot, which is attack speed +8, inflicts defense res -8, and at start of player phase or enemy phase neutralizes panic and other any penalties on unit's attack and speed that take effect on unit at this time. Seal Defense Res 3 for the B slot inflicts defense res -3 on foe and additional penalty to foe's defense and res equal to 6 minus current penalty on each of those stats during combat. Minimum 0. Calculates each stat penalty independently. Still inflicts penalty on foe even if foe triggers an effect that neutralizes penalties during combat. Okay. If penalty is active on foe's defense or res, inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat. Only highest value applied, does not stack. After combat, inflicts defense res -6 on foe through its next action. Okay, so I might be reading this wrong. It's very, very possible, almost probable, but I may be reading this wrong. I feel like this isn't that great. I mean, it's okay, it's fine, but we just saw with Forde how he capitalizes on penalties, and I get that that's his shtick. You know, that's kind of his archetype. That's what they built the character around. But we've seen how he gets such monumental in-combat bonuses and buffs based around the penalty to just eclipse the penalty effectively. You know, just the unity effect. I mean, but more than one unity effect on him at once. Whereas this, again, it feels like it's chained down to the fact that it's at least 6, you know, to minus, you know, it's a debuff of at least 3, and then 6 minus whatever the current penalty is. And then it's just trying to ensure that if there is a penalty already active on the enemy, that it's not going to... the -6 isn't going to go beyond that, you know, more or less. So I don't know. Maybe it just looks puny in comparison, which would make sense because it's just, you know, it's an inheritable skill. It's not like it's a built-in part of a unit's archetype or something like that, like Forde's weapon is. But I don't know. But so you know, that notwithstanding, with the stat penalty and what have you. If penalty is active on foe's defense or res, inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack. So a guard effect on the enemy is nice. It's nice to have that baked into the seal skill too. And then it has an after combat effect, effectively what Seal used to do, straight up. An activated penalty on the enemy stat line for defense and res through their next action after combat. So all of the other stuff is new stuff for Seal, for the Seal tree. The last piece is, you know, what Seal used to do, which is very underwhelming. And that also, of course, plays into the role of Nidavellir Ballista having a support effect too, especially for the first turns, or really only with the first 4 turns, and providing his allies additional boosts to be able to do that cleanup duty as well. Having a set AoE special at the ready every single time for the first 4 turns is significant. It is quite significant, and that is going to hit really, really hard. And then additionally, all of the boosts based around his speed is really nice, and Verge of Death is going to take advantage of that too. Also going to neutralize panic and everything. So yeah, an uber powerful offensive cavalry archer that belts out AoE specials at the start of turns 1 through 4, in addition to that Kanto to be able to skirt back into safety. And then I think what really kind of sets him apart is the additional stat boost, or not stat boost, the bonuses that he provides his allies at the start of the turn, which is quite nice. Alright, so we've got Attuned EIRIKA. She is going to be an infantry axe unit. She has Sisterly Axe for her own unique weapon, 16 might. Has a killer slaying effect if a skill compares unit speed to foes or allies' speed, treats unit speed as if granted +7. So she has a built-in phantom speed. That's interesting. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed +6, and dodge to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. Okay. Oh, okay, so she and her allies are going to get dodge, and then she herself is going to get a phantom speed, which is going to be able to... going to affect the calculation for dodge as well for her, which is nice. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants bonus to unit's stats equal to 5 plus number of foes within 3 rows or 3 columns, centered on unit times 3 max 14. Reduces damage from foes' attacks by 20% of unit's speed, and reduces the percentage of foes, so damage reduction piercing as well during combat. Also, when unit deals damage to foe during combat, restores 7 HP to unit, triggers even if 0 damage is dealt. Okay. So it does seem like she's going to be uber speedy, uber tanky. It's going to be kind of her archetype, and she's going to be able to grant dodge to her allies, have dodge herself, have the phantom speed built into her weapon, and then she has a bunch of other effects that, or at least some effects that scale off of her speed, including damage reduction, which is 20% of unit speed. So it's a fixed damage reduction that scales as a percentage off of her speed. And then also has damage reduction piercing, has healing built in, has a stat boost up to 14 based around the enemy positioning, which is pretty generous with the 3 rows and 3 columns. Overall, it's going to be lots of stat boosts for herself, and again, lots of damage reduction off of her speed stat, effectively, and a little bit of an assist or I guess a support role in terms of providing her allies not only a stat boost but also dodge. I can take advantage of that stat boost. Got the Killer Slaying effect, which obviously will affect her special Gust, which is a 3 cooldown special. With the Killer Slaying effect will be a 2 cooldown special. Boost special damage by 50% of unit speed when special triggers. If unit or foe's special is ready, or if unit or foe's special triggered before or during this combat, and if unit speed is greater than or equal to foe's speed minus 4, reduces damage from foe's next attack during combat by 40%, once per combat, excluding AoE specials. Okay, so boosting damage by 50% of unit speed at a 3 cooldown special, and 2 cooldown in her case, very good. Additionally, having that damage reduction built around the speed differential, effectively, if the unit that has the special can double the other unit, then you're going to enjoy 40% damage reduction built into the special. So I believe this is inheritable. I mean, I think it's inheritable based around where it sits and the exclamation mark and stuff. I kind of wish they were a little bit clearer about that. I mean, so assuming that it is inheritable, I wish that they had, and I know, be careful what you wish for, right? I kind of wish that they told us like what the limitations of the inheritance is, just because, is it locked to infantry? And if I had to guess, I would say that this skill is probably locked to infantry. It would just be nice to know right now out of the gate, but I guess we don't have to wait too long to find out, and the more that they have to add to these skills on the trailer, the longer the list is, and the more eyes glaze over when they look at the text. So I also understand not wanting to put that in there. So I do get that. It's just it leaves me questioning the utility of the special depending on inheritance, But that being said, okay, 50% of unit speed is ridiculous. It's going to do tons of damage. 3 cooldown special based around that. And then additionally, this whole like outspeeding thing, if you're only going to have this special on speedy units. So if you're going to have it on speedy units, then clearly, in more commonly than not, they're going to meet that speed differential. We see already there are counters even in this very set of units where they have skills that will increase the requirement to double, but that doesn't necessarily affect or impact this calculation, right? For the damage reduction built in, and seeing more damage reduction built into specials, which obviates the damage reduction piercing, you see. So, you can already kind of see where things are going a little bit, I feel, with characters in general. We're going to see more and more, and we've kind of already, I mean, it's not really a secret, I guess, but we've already started seeing, and we'll continue to see more damage reduction built into specials to obviate the damage reduction piercing and damage reduction nullification that is meant to counter damage reduction. Again, it's like another layer of kind of like band-aiding certain effects a little bit, I guess. But yeah, so certainly damage reduction built into specials is going to be at a premium and more special, really, just because of that specific value that it has, not being neutralizable or reducible. Alright, so D bonus doubler for the A slot. It's not new. I can't remember who else has this. Unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range, so straight up just distant counter. Grants plus X to all stats to unit during combat, where X is the highest bonus on each stat between unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit. Calculates each stat bonus independently. So, yeah, that is a very, very good A slot skill. Moonlit Bangle Q for the B slot. If foe initiates combat and unit speed is greater than or equal to foe speed minus 4, unit can counterattack before foe's first attack. So that's where the Vantage comes in. I see. So Vantage off of a speed check. Alright. Inflicts minus 5 to attack speed and defense on foe during combat. Unit deals damage equal to 25% of foe's defense, excluding AoE specials, so the Luna effect. Grants special cooldown count minus 1 to unit before unit's first attack, and special cooldown count minus 1 to unit before unit's first follow-up attack, and neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge minus X on unit during combat. Yeah, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. She effectively gets a charge to her special before the enemy attacks. And because she has Vantage, that means that she gets that charge before her counterattack preemptively against the enemy, right? And then if she has to sustain an attack, during the follow-up attack, she gets an additional charge. There's also the neutralization of guard effects on her too, so she will naturally gain special charge as well. There is the Luna-ish effect, where she just deals damage off of the foe's defense. The additional debuffs, I should say, on the enemy. And then, of course, the Vantage effect as a whole, which is quite good. Times Pulse 4 for the C slot. At start of turn, if special cooldown count is at its max value, grant special cooldown count -1. After combat, if special cooldown count is at its max value, grant special cooldown count -1. So we saw that Gust is at a 3-turn cooldown. With Killer Slaying Effect, it'll be at a 2-turn cooldown. With Times Pulse 4, it'll be at a 1-turn cooldown. And then Moonlit Bangle Q will ensure that she gets an additional charge immediately right before she counterattacks preemptively, which means that she will effectively, when enemy phasing, get an insta-charge to her special. Her Attuned skill, Null C Disrupt E, neutralizes effects that prevent units' counterattacks during combat. That's quite good. That's really good, actually. That is really good. I'm already thinking about Ninja Camilla. and her wanting this skill. Yeah, that would be quite nice to have. So yeah, that does take advantage. Again, the disadvantage of an enemy phasing Vantage unit is one, when you have a Hardy Bearing effect, right, is one. The other is effectively a sweep effect, where it neutralizes counterattacking. So this does effectively neutralize one of the counter plays to the Vantage archetype. And I wonder if it is going to be limited in any capacity into who can actually inherit this, but that does help a lot. That actually fits very nicely and neatly into what EIRIKA wants to have. And so that'll let her, counterattack even when she's not supposed to, technically. So Attuned skill ensures her counterattacks, then she triggers her special. So as you can see here, Moonlit Bangle gives her the special charge. She activates that Gust, deals tons of damage, gets a heal from her weapon, and then has the distant counter built in, of course. Moonlit Bangle gets the special charge, gets the Gust, instantly takes her out. So, and we don't even see the damage reduction when, from the effect of the attacks that she would be taking, but she would get damage reduction for any attacks that she has to sustain, and then get another insta-charge to Gust on the second go-around, or the follow-up attack that she grants. So she's going to be really powerful. She's going to be really good in that role of effectively chaining specials, getting damage reduction from those specials for survivability. That damage reduction can't be completely neutralized because it's built into the special of hers. And that Moonlit Bangle Q is such a good B-slot skill, has the Vantage effect. I mean, really, so much of her is centered around Moonlit Bangle Q. It's the Vantage effect, the insta-charge to her special at the beginning of each attack. It's going to be the additional just raw damage built in that scales off of the Luna effect, kind of. And then the in-combat debuff, as well as the guard effect. It's all, or the neutralization of guard, all in that B-slot skill. So once again, starting on the 16th of July, we've got Attuned EIRIKA and Ascended Amelia. Honestly, Attuned EIRIKA looks great. She's really powerful defensive capability in chain proccing that special effectively, and that B-slot is so good. Her Attuned skill, also rather niche in terms of... everybody can... It's useful in general, but I think certain characters in particular would really love to have that Attuned slot. And I think it's going to be very valuable for that archetype, particularly ones like EIRIKA, who's going to be, a Vantage unit, a Vantage defensive enemy phasing unit. You've got Amelia as well as a speedy, defensive, tanky unit, armored unit that's a save hero. She's going to come into play and also going to provide additional bonuses to her allies on a support role at the same time. You have Forde that has the unique archetype of taking advantage of penalties. And again, I feel like there's a play there to really take advantage of all of the unity effects that you can stack onto him, if they really do kind of double up and stack in that way. And Nidavellir is going to be very front-loaded in what he does. In turns 1 through 4, going to be an absolute monster. And and an offensive ranged cavalry unit that's going to hit extremely hard and be able to Kanto to safety. So a lot of good units in here, a lot of good skills also to kind of hunt for. I think particularly again with that Attuned EIRIKA, a lot of that also hinges on whether or not Gust is inheritable and what the limitations of inheriting Gust are, if it is. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on Attuned EIRIKA and Ascended Amelia. If you guessed the units, I guess first and foremost. Other than Nidavellir, I probably should have guessed Nidavellir. I forgot that's how they handle those characters. But yeah, what do you think about the banner as a whole, including Nidavellir in there, and which ones you're going to be going for, if any of them? Now, bear in mind, we're post summer or midsummer. So at this point, the onslaught to everybody's orb reserves that is summer is currently ongoing, but the reveals have passed. So we're kind of in a little bit of a safe zone, I guess. Choose Your Legends is somewhat around the corner, so it's not going to be too far away. I know a lot of people are going to be saving their orbs in general. Obviously, Legendary Camilla comes back at the end of the month, so that's a big target for me as well. So I'm probably not going to be going in on this banner. Some of it depends on EIRIKA's attuned slot. If her attuned slot is not limited in any capacity to who can inherit it, I may try to get a copy of Attuned EIRIKA, but we'll see. But hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting down below, subscribing to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, let's protect those skies.